Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
As COVID patients fill up state line hospitals, some people with different medical emergencies say they're falling to the wayside. We look at local ER wait times. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists leaves the Doomsday Clock exactly where it is. Find out how close the group says we are to world peril. And after 2 years of loss worldwide, an author right here in Winnebago County offers a lifeline. A new book helps parents have tough talks with kids. Good evening, I'm Eric Wilson. Mimi Murphy is off tonight. With state-line hospital beds at capacity, local medical facilities struggle to meet the demand. Right now, a visit to the emergency room could mean a much longer wait than you're used to. Rachel Perry's been looking into this issue. Rachel, how long are some patients sitting around?
Eric, I'm told it can be anywhere from 30 minutes to nearly 10 hours. The two women I spoke with said their experience was about 8 hours each, one saying she lost nearly 3 units of blood during that time.
He was having a lot of trouble breathing, and it was with every breath he was gasping.
Jennifer Knight is thankful her dad is alive today. After having a pulmonary embolism, Knight tells me he ended up waiting 8 hours at the OSF emergency room.
He basically just watched as people came in and came out. And I know that there were people that just got frustrated and ended up leaving.
Her dad would spend the next 9 days in the hospital.
They ended up doing a CT scan, I think at like hour 6 that he was there. And then at hour 8, a doctor came out and got him out of the emergency room, waiting room, and took him back because, he had a pulmonary embolism. It was a fairly large clot, and those can be deadly if they're not treated right away.
Long wait times are nothing new right now. Since the start of the pandemic, hospital beds and nursing staff have faced shortages, causing some people to wait hours to be seen.
I walked in, said, I think I'm miscarrying. I'm 8 or 9 weeks along. And I was parked out in the emergency room, waiting room, until a room was available.
Nearly 7 hours later, Courtney Edgington was finally seen at Mercy Health Riverside. She says at that point she had lost a lot of blood.
While I was in there getting a DNC, they had to put 3, almost 4 units of blood transfused into me. So I very closely died that day.
Knight says in her experience at local hospitals, the staff just can't meet the demand right now.
There are a lot of empty beds, but there's just not enough nurses to accommodate all those patients.
There's been a nursing shortage for years, even before COVID, but the pandemic has only made it worse. I did reach out to both OSF and Mercy Health about the long wait times. Neither have responded yet tonight. Eric?
Thanks, Rachel. A jury is selected in the federal trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers charged in George Floyd's death. Thomas Lane, Alexander Kang, and Tu Tao are accused of violating Floyd's civil rights by not helping him during his fatal arrest. The former officers pleaded not guilty. At today's proceeding, the judge questioned prospective jurors and dismissed several who said they couldn't be impartial. 18 were picked, 12 will deliberate. The other 6 are alternates. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of second-degree murder for kneeling on Floyd's neck for about 9.5 minutes. Chauvin also pleaded guilty to separate federal civil rights charges. Russia denies it plans to invade Ukraine. The country accuses the West of plotting provocations in Ukraine. Moscow points to British military transport planes that delivered weapons to Ukraine recently. Meantime, Russia unveiled new weapons in its military arsenal. This includes a silent submarine and modernized tanks. Russia says the sub can dive nearly 1,000 feet. Military leaders also claimed a 52-man crew can operate for a month and a half without returning to port. The old icon from the Cold War continues to tick down to the end of the world. It's known as the Doomsday Clock, a symbolic mark of how close humanity may be to destroying the world as we know it. Today, scientists chose to let the hands of time sit still for another year. It remains at exactly 100 seconds to midnight, which, according to experts, is not necessarily a positive note.
In 2021, there were some positive developments in each of the areas of concern that the Science and Security Board reviews. However, these have not managed to outweigh the longer-term negative trends that continue to erode security.
100 seconds.
The clock's time is set by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists' Science and Security Board. It's supported by sponsors, including 11 Nobel laureates. Federal government employees who won't get vaccinated for religious reasons are being tracked. Several different departments, such as Justice, Interior, and the Treasury, are collecting the information in an online database. That's raising flags by religious freedom advocates. One group, the Alliance for Defending Freedom, says it's concerning because of the data's private nature. The federal government requires vaccination to work. Exceptions include medical and religious reasons. A new study finds the after effects of COVID can affect even those with mild symptoms. Researchers in the UK found people who suffered from mild COVID and didn't show other traditional long COVID symptoms could still exhibit attention and memory issues. A study of almost 140 participants found those with mild symptoms were worse at recalling personal experiences and had worse ability to pay attention over time than those who were not infected. Researchers found these problems were temporary and memory and attention span returned to normal 6 to 9 months after infection. Talking about death can be an uncomfortable subject, especially when you try and explain it to kids. A local author took on the challenge to try and help families. Nikel Delgado talked with the writer. Nikel, why did you decide to write this book?
Eric, author Sherry Barch says she wanted to give comfort in a difficult time. And even though this is a children's book, she's saying it's also helping adults cope too.
Experiencing the loss myself and experiencing my kids going through the same loss at the same time and trying to explain to them.
Melissa Sternstrom recently lost a close family friend. To help her daughter Berkeley deal with the loss, Melissa gave her the book Heaven's Bell.
So we were reading in the back seat, and at some point in the book, I just stopped. Like, we were about right in the middle of it, and I had to stop and just started bawling. Like, I couldn't even look at anybody. I was looking out the window just trying to keep myself together.
Berkeley says the book helped her deal with her emotions. Author of Heaven's Bell, Sherry Barch, says she wanted to come up with a way for families to have a conversation about death and dying.
We are experiencing death at such an incredible rate, and it's not just the adults controlling it, right? It's all these children that are seeing it on TV and they're losing their school teachers or their neighbors.
Sherry hopes the book can take away some of the awkwardness some may feel at this time, while providing a safe place to share memories of their loved ones.
People don't talk about the story when they're done reading the book. They talk about their loved ones. And that's the biggest gift as an author that I can get, because it really is about, let's continue that conversation.
Melissa tells me she plans on passing the book to others who need it.
We knew that it was inevitable that we were going to lose this person in our life, that there would be still a connection that we were going to be able to keep.
I just never imagined it the way it happened. It was just, but this really did help me.
The book has all 5-star reviews on Amazon. If you would like to check it out for yourself, I've linked all the ways you can enjoy Heaven's Bell on mystateline.com. Eric?
Thanks, Nikel. 1 year ago, Joe Biden assumed the presidency. Today, lawmakers reflected on the work he's done so far and looked forward to the road ahead. Our Washington correspondent Basil John is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Good evening. Lawmakers provided a progress report for the president, and while Democrats approved of his performance, Republicans gave the president a failing grade.
It was a cause for celebration then and cause for appreciation now.
America has faced a year of unprecedented crisis.
Exactly 1 year into President Joe Biden's term, and Democrats and Republicans are split on his performance so far.
As we all know, much more needs to be done, but we have made great progress in this year.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi credits the president with driving down unemployment and laying the groundwork to get even more Americans back to work.
When we have more access to child care and universal pre-K and the rest, many more people will be able to go to work.
Pelosi says the administration made great progress against the harmful effects of the pandemic.
Passed the rescue package, put money in the pockets of the American people, vaccines in their arms.
However, Republicans, like New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, see the past year quite differently.
The American people are facing an economic crisis, an energy crisis, a border crisis, an education crisis, a crime crisis, a worsening COVID-19 crisis, and a national security crisis.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy expects more turmoil, while the White House and Congress are led by Democrats.
I think America deserves better.
The president blamed Republicans yesterday for some of the setbacks his administration has faced to make the country better. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Well, we had a lot of sunshine today, but that really didn't help us out in our temperature department as we only barely made it into the teens for this afternoon. Then all this cold and all of the sunshine has really been locked in by this high pressure system here. That's really been keeping our clearer skies, and at night that helps drop our temperatures off quite drastically into the evening there. And here we've seen the sun set on our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera in Rockford, and then we are seeing those clearer skies here into the evening as well. Right now, temperatures already on the decline for this evening. 11 here in Rockford, still single digits, 2 out in Galena, where they have remained in single digits throughout this afternoon as well. Wind chill is still playing a factor as we're seeing winds out of the north, so -2 for our wind chill in Rockford, -11 out there in Galena. So still, as you head out this evening, make sure you grab an extra layer and make sure you bundle up here into this evening and the overnight hours as well. Now on our weather watcher updates, we have Bob that reported 12 degrees with -2 dew point there in Winnebago County. That's the same temperature for Ken and out in Belvedere, 12 degrees as well with 0 for the dew point. And Sandy out in DeKalb County, 12 degrees as well. So definitely cooler as you head out the door this evening. Make sure, again, grab that extra layer overnight tonight. Temperatures, I do think we will get below 0 for our overnight low here in Rockford. -1 officially with those clearer skies. I do think those below 0 temperatures are more likely for most of the viewing area. As we check out Futurecast here, we see those temperatures really falling off because of those clearer skies. That's allowing all of that heat energy we've built up during the day to escape into the atmosphere, allowing those temperatures to really drop off here into the overnight hours. Those will stay in single digits for most of the overnight. We'll eventually work our way back up to 20 degrees for our high. We'll see some snow showers begin to work their way in. That's the first of a couple of systems that could bring us some snow showers here into the next few days and into the weekend as well. And we look at our wind chills, those will still play a factor, but most of those will be locked in toward the west. Galena really seeing the worst of that as far as our viewing area goes, but overall still seeing single digit wind chills through much of the day tomorrow despite seeing 20 degrees. The winds pick right back up and cause those wind chills to be a factor as well. Through the day tomorrow, we do see temperatures 21 degrees for our high temperature. With upper level pattern, we're going to see this really pattern help develop some of these storm systems. It'll act as like a slide that'll cause all these storm systems to work their way in across this area. So here's a look at some of those systems. This is the first one on Saturday, and we have another one working through a clipper on Sunday, and then again we have a third one. That's 3 systems that work their way in over the next few days into Monday as well. So overall, as we recap these here on our 7-day forecast, we can really see those changing here over these next few days. We see those storm systems on the next couple of days. We work our way into the 20 degrees for the next couple of days, and then we really cool down into the end of the week, getting down to single digits again by the middle of next week and below 0 for our overnight lows.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
The Bears continue to meet with candidates for the GM and coaching jobs. Beloit native Jim Caldwell scheduled for an interview on Saturday for that coaching job. Caldwell hasn't been a head coach since the Lions fired him after the 2017 season. He made it clear to me this summer when he was in Beloit that he still has a desire to coach.
Coach, as far as your coaching career, are you retired? Are you hoping to get another coaching job? What are your future plans?
Well, I'm not certain if a coach can ever say that they're retired, because it's kind of in their DNA to keep going.
As I've said before, and I'll say it again, Caldwell deserves another head coaching shot. Any man who can coach the Lions to 3 winning seasons in 4 years as he did deserves a chance. He also guided the Lions to an NFC North championship in 2014. Remember that? Probably not. We always think of the Lions as cellar dwellers. And remember, before Caldwell coached the Lions, he coached the Colts and took them to a Super Bowl. Now, whether or not Caldwell's a good fit for the Bears, I'm not exactly sure. I think he'd be very similar to Lovie Smith, the guy who would establish a great culture, a guy who would have the respect of the players. I just don't know, though, if he could get this team over the hump. Lovie couldn't. I'm not sure Caldwell would be the best guy either to develop Justin Fields. So is the Bears organization an attractive spot for coaches? Here's some of the positives and negatives I came up with. These are the positives. The Bears' rich tradition and history. They're located in a major market. In a few years, they could have a new state-of-the-art stadium in Arlington Heights. And they have a potential franchise quarterback to build around in Justin Fields, although some coaches aren't totally sold on Fields. The negatives for the Bears, the McCaskey family, they're wonderful people, but they seem to be out of touch with how to run an NFL organization in 2022. The Bears don't have a first-round draft pick this year, and they have a subpar roster. Fred VanVleet keeps making his case to be an all-star. He had a double-double last night, 18 points and 12 rebounds against the Mavericks. Now here's one more stat in his favor that most people aren't aware of. VanVleet leads all NBA players in minutes played per game. He's averaging 38.1 minutes per game. That puts him ahead of James Harden, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and Kevin Durant. They round out the top 5. That's pretty good company. It also shows how valuable VanVleet is to the Raptors. Raptors coach Nick Nurse is probably playing VanVleet too much. You might risk wearing him down for the stretch run. But VanVleet is showing he has great endurance to battle that much against the best players on the planet. That's my take. We'll be right back.
Jordan will share his 7-day forecast with us in a minute. First, here's what News Nation has planned.
Tonight, the National Guard feeling more like mall cops, why troops at the southern border say they're not allowed to help out. Plus, the new study on alcohol stirring up debate. That's On Balance tonight. Here's Dan Abrams.
Thanks, Leland. Tonight on Dan Abrams Live on News Nation. A deadly case of road rage. A bicyclist on trial for fatally shooting a car passenger. But now he's claiming self-defense and saying it was based on his race. That's tonight on Dan Abrams Live.
That's all coming up on the fastest growing cable news network in America. News Nation's available on these cable and satellite stations. You can also try newsnation.com.
And our first one, interactive radar, brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass, showing not much of anything, just some lake effect snow showers there toward Indiana. Now, let's try this again. Our 7-day forecast. We're going to be seeing colder temperatures really to start out. We'll warm up into the weekend, have a few chances for snow Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's 3 separate disturbances that could move in, bringing us some light snow showers. And then we really turn down toward the cold temperatures as we head toward the end part of the week. Temperatures reaching 16 for our high Tuesday, 13 for Wednesday, -5 for our in-between Tuesday and Wednesday.
A little bit of snow and not much melting. Thanks, Jordan, and thank you for spending time with us. Stay safe.